Without further ado, what we're going to do here is we're going to start by bringing on Representative Heather Scott. And Heather Scott has been in the state house for 5 terms. This is 10 years that we've had the pleasure of having Heather Scott being a rabble rouser in the House, but working for the people. And as we saw in the montage coming into this, Heather, every time you stand up, you speak directly for the people. And that is why I thought it was so important to have you on as one of our as the first guest on Idaho Signal. You are also co-chair of the Idaho Freedom Caucus, which just went through its first term, I guess, in existence last session, and now you're going into this session, and you've kind of got a better lay of the land about how the caucus is being treated and the effectiveness of the caucus. So first, welcome to the program, and why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the caucus as well.
Well, thank you. And first, what a wonderful intro. If that doesn't get you fired up for session, I don't know what will. It's super exciting to see all those people standing up for the citizens. And each year we grow that. And as you mentioned, the Freedom Caucus, we've always kind of been operating behind the scenes, but last year we went official and we organized, and we've got structure, we've got a staff member, and we're connected to other states where we have been networking with Washington, seeing what's coming out of there. We've been networking with the other Liberty folks in other states, and it has helped us tremendously. So what a great intro, and what a great venue that we have been missing for the last 10 years I've been there. No one has actually been down there reporting every day what's going on in Boise, and most people live so far away. So this is very exciting to me. So thank you for doing this and putting this together, and what an honor to be your first guest.
Yeah, thank you for that. And one of the things that I have noticed, because I'd like to throw some shout outs to folks across our great state, is that the level of citizen engagement in journalism and reporting on what's been going on has really percolated the last year, especially this year, and with venues like X, Twitter, with Elon Musk taking over Twitter and changing it to X and allowing for that debate, that open debate to happen. It's been really special to kind of see that. And I see that you're pretty active on X as well, which is great. So let's get into it. I want to make sure that the people understand what the Freedom Caucus is behind, how we can support you guys, and what's on the agenda.
So we are super excited. We're organized this year. We have a rec card coming out with the issues that we are pursuing this year. Obviously, one of the first ones, we've got 4 main areas that we are committed to as a caucus. And so constitutional rights, individual rights. We're not talking corporate rights. We're talking individual rights. We've seen so many attacks on our gun rights, our due process across the country. So that is one of our main focuses this year. One of our next ones is fiscal responsibility and transparency. We are really digging into the spending. Our taxes are way too high in Idaho. For so many people moving here to pick up the tab, we are paying way too much. So we are working to decrease taxes and our federal dependency. I don't know that a lot of people understand, but when that federal money goes, Idaho's in a whole lot of trouble. And so that is one of our focuses. Our last 2 topics are, protecting the innocence of children and families. We are working, as we see the moral decline in this country and this state, there is just so many battlefields when it comes to protecting families and children. The porn in the libraries has been a really big issue. I don't understand why that's so hard to stop. Our children are being sexualized. We are for responsible education. And so we're working on ways to promote teachers that actually want to educate students instead of indoctrinate. And those are some of our big hot topics that we're planning to pursue. Of course, you're going to see, the ESG stuff, protection there. Some of our other stuff will be digital currency we're going to be addressing this year. But those are our main categories that we plan to pursue this year.
I'm very concerned about this federal dependency thing because I've taken a look at the numbers when we look at the budget that we've set aside for education, for Medicaid, and for various other programs that the state uses federal money for, which generally comes along with some sort of strings attached, if you will,
Mhm.
and I mean, our national debt hit 34 trillion. It just hit 33 trillion a few months ago, and now we're at 34. And I don't know what 2024 has in store for us, but if the federal government ends up in a huge pickle where the states are going to be defaulting on things, I mean, where do we end up?
You're going to see this year a lot of changes in the House Finance Committee, ways to come up with alternative budgets when that federal money does stop, ways to a new thing that we passed a bill last year. Freedom Caucus members passed a bill last year to get all the memorandums of understanding and agreements on to the state controller's site. So if you go to that site, you will see the agreements we have with all across the country, federal agreements. We are really focusing down on some of those agreements. And that's the only way we're going to have to start weaning ourselves from that money. It's unnecessary in a state like Idaho. So we could be a self-sufficient, sovereign state if we would put our mind to it. But there has to be a will. And I'll mention this, Matt. A lot of our Freedom Caucus members, they're terrified of them. They're already being attacked in the upcoming elections. But the big thing is everything's getting spun. Everything is being spun different directions. And the when we hit fiscal conservative and we start exposing how the spending, that's when we got doubled down on. That's when they really came after our members. And we're just trying to expose how they're spending money. And every time we try to expose it, we are being tagged with, oh, you're against police officers, you're against teachers, you're pro-drugs. They just make up all these lies about anyone that wants to stand up and bring accountability to the spending.
Right. We just have a few seconds left here.
Yep.
Please, how can people stay in touch with you? How can they get your newsletter? How can they follow you? Where's the best place?
Texting me and calling me is really the best way. I know that sounds crazy, but I get so many emails. In Twitter, connect on Twitter and say, I want to be on your newsletter, and I'll get you on there somehow. But I'm going to be putting a lot of stuff out on Twitter. I'm going to do a lot more social media, and it'll be a busy session. I'm looking forward to it, and this program is going to be stay in tune with this program because Signal's going to be down there live, and you're going to hear really what's going on behind the scenes. So I would stay involved with you guys.
Well, thanks for that shout out. I
Yes.
appreciate that. All right, Heather, good luck down there. Have a great weekend, and we'll connect with you again soon.
All right. Thank you. And good luck to your program.
Thanks.